workspace should be filled with that which makes you feel inspired. It's a mission control station for your ideas to come to life. It's a workshop for your tools of creativity to build doors of opportunity.
Welcome everybody to the Futurespace Collective, where we explore the world of products for imagination. So I've had a desire to do a desk setup video for a while now. I'm a huge fan of these types of videos. I love going on YouTube, I'll search them, I'll watch every one of them, seeing how people do their spaces and how they get into that zone of really being productive. So when I first got this space, I really wanted to turn the entire wall basically into a giant desk, a giant creation center. I kind of started conceptualizing what I could do, and I had always really liked L desks. That is where the desk kind of makes the shape of an L. I took all the measurements, I drew it out, got it fabricated and built the actual desktop surface by like a company that makes kitchens and custom furniture. So I picked my material to look kind of like this stone concrete vibe going on, and it's a totally waterproof and scratch-proof material, so it's really great. So I have all like IKEA pieces supporting this custom desk shape that I had built. Over here is where I have my Alex drawer units. So they support one end of the desk. IKEA sells this trestle, this triangular shape here that supports it. And then the rest of the desk is supported with just IKEA legs. And then I got this IKEA kind of cubed 4x4 shelf thing, which I put on that side of the desk there and hide everything underneath. It's actually two pieces. So if I wanted to, I can break it off into two separate desks. Or as I have it now, I have it connected as one piece, but breaking it up into two pieces allowed me to basically fit it through doorways and get it into the building and through the elevator and such. All right, so in terms of lighting the desk, on the back edge of the desk, the side that's not visible, I have an LED light strip creating that nice glow up against the wall. Behind the monitors, I have a Philips Hue Go, which is a nice little light that kind of creates that light in the corner. And then I have Philips Hue smart bulbs in the two floor lamps beside the desk, as well as the orb looking light underneath the desk. I have RGB puck lights in the square cabinets above the desk. I have an LED light strip behind the TV, as well as Govee Flow Pros stuck to the back of the TV. The light bars beside and behind the desk in the video you can find on Amazon. I've actually done a separate dedicated video on light bar floor lamps, so check that out. In fact, all the links and everything talked about in this video will be in the description below if you're curious to check anything out and pricing. I use an Alexa, an Amazon Alexa. This is how I basically control everything in terms of turning it all on and turning it all off. So for my desk chair, I use the Autonomous Ergo Chair Pro. I really love this chair. I think it fits the desk setup well. It has a nice aesthetic to it. It has a lot of customizations and it feels great. Prior to using this, I had this other really funky futuristic desk chair. I did do a video on both of these chairs, which I really love that chair. It looked absolutely amazing, super futuristic, but it wasn't so well made and it kind of broke down after time and it was very expensive. But now that we've kind of got that out of the way, let's move into the main desk area. Welcome to the main desk area, the control center, as I like to call it. We're gonna go through all the items on my desk here. So first, let's start with the computer itself. Needless to say, it was time for an upgrade. So what I actually did, before I talk about the new computer, is I took my old computer, my daily driver that I had for so long, and I actually converted it into a network server. So that allowed me to take all of my older hard drives that I've been using for archival, put them into this computer, create this server array, which is like basically a huge hard drive over the network. And so when I'm done with the project, I'll now move it onto the server for Archival, and it will stay on the server in case I need to go back and access an old file, I can still do so. Anyhow, so I've now upgraded and I went with an M1 Max MacBook Pro. That is Apple's new silicon chip. And oh my God, absolutely mind blown by the power of this thing. This is the most powerful computer I've ever owned. I throw tasks at it, video, it just eats right through it, no problem. So much power in such a small form factor. This little thin piece of hardware that I can carry with me is now the most powerful computer I've ever owned. This is a laptop holder, a laptop stand by a brand called Centric. And they make these really, geometrically interesting laptop stands that are really aesthetically pleasing. So it's got a really clever design. You kind of just put the laptop in, and the way the laptop holds it, hugs it, we'll say it hugs it. It hugs your computer into place. It looks better and it's got greater airflow. And then what's really, really awesome is that I can actually just plug one cable. That's right, I plug one cable in my computer to do everything. So this one cable is being run over Thunderbolt 4, or I guess in my case, Thunderbolt 3, because I'm running it to the Caldigit USB-C HDMI Pro dock. That's a mouthful, I know, but basically with this dock, it takes that one cable and it adds all my inputs and outputs. So that means power is going into the dock, all my peripherals, my displays, my Ethernet, everything is going into this dock. The one cable feeds it all to the laptop. It's crazy, it's so good. So if you do want to have like a laptop powered workspace, get a dock like this. Let's talk about what's plugged into the dock and all the peripherals and go through that. Oh, and I should mention the reason I did end up going with the M1 Max laptop. The kind of thing that sold me on the Max chip was the M1 Max versus the M1 Pro. The M1 Max could support outputting 3 monitors. So I have my 2 main monitors here, but I also have my TV that I run. I like to run the 3 monitors in config. There is that other cable needed if you want the 3rd monitor. So technically in my case, it's 2 cables, but I would have gone with the M1 Pro if it wasn't for that one small detail. But I'm also, of course, enjoying the extra power that comes with the M1 Max chip. Anyways, let's move on to what's all plugged in through the Caldigit I/O. So let's start with the mixer. The sound, it is a Mackie ProFX version 2. I believe it comes in 8, 12, and 16 inputs. So that's how many, microphones you want to be able to connect to it, essentially. Or instruments, if you're, you do music. It's kind of like a giant sound card where plug in all your microphones and you can use it in an analog sense, but it is also like a digital I/O, meaning it will digitize the analog sound from the microphones and you can, feed that directly to the computer. If I have to do voiceovers, anything like that, boom, plug it into the mixer and we're good to go. So the board is feeding everything out as well as taking all my sound in. And so this allows me to feed sound to multiple places. My studio monitors here on the desk, which are the KRK Rokit 5s. I believe they are the 3rd generation of Rokit 5s. I love the iconic yellow speaker cone that they have. Really dig the aesthetic of them. These speakers are on top of these ISO Acoustics professional monitor stands. They actually raise the speaker height up. So they come with larger supports here where you can build the bass into a higher stand or a smaller one. Right now I have it in the smaller configuration, but basically this allows us to bring the speakers upward closer to ear level. And that's really important if you're mixing sound. And the second thing is they also help to isolate vibrations both from the speaker and to the speaker, resulting in a clearer audio sound. On top of the KRK Rokit 5s, I have my headphones. I got these off Amazon. They're by a brand, OneOdio. I don't use headphones too often, more on a functional basis if I need to isolate the sound and wear headphones if I'm recording something or monitoring, levels on the camera. I have this really great headphone stand by Kanto, super simple, super elegant. It has a nice sturdy base to it. and I keep the whole stand on top of the speaker. Okay, moving on to the monitors. So I have identical 27-inch BenQ monitors. They are 1440p monitors. I would describe them as sort of like mid-range monitors. What I really am concerned about is kind of getting the most accurate color. So I went with monitors that were pretty well rated for color rendering. But what I do to kind of get me the other half of the way there is I use a color calibrator. So this basically takes the color and it has like a little camera in it, and you put it on the monitor, you stick it on the monitor, and it runs through this software and it measures the color of the monitor, and it'll take that and it'll spit out a profile that you can load to get you to a proper, color space. As every kind of TV or monitor you'll view a video on is gonna look a bit different. So it's important as a video editor and somebody who's color grading and color correcting to have sort of a standardized color that I can correct to. So that's a good trick. You don't need the best monitors, just get yourself some good monitors and then buy a color calibrator. And I find that really helps and has been doing the job for years. So I use this light bar here by Luxceo, but this is basically a long light bar. It's aesthetically pleasing. It wasn't too expensive. It's got a high CRI rating. It kind of wraps around my face nicely, the light that it puts out. So this is connected to a sort of a ball head arm mount, and this is connected to kind of a snake arm. And that snake arm is connected to a light stand, which is also holding this thing called a gobo head. So what I have attached to the gobo head is the boom arm that's holding the microphone. So I'm using a Rode NTG3 shotgun microphone that's running into my board, but that kind of allows me good sound without having this huge condenser mic in the frame. The next device, my favorite device on this desk, which is this one right here. This is the ATEM Mini Pro by Blackmagic Design. So this is my HDMI video switcher. I can run all of my cameras into this board here, and I can then stream or feed that to my computer as a webcam, a video feed, or I can literally, I have an Ethernet cable plugged into this thing. You can stream directly to the internet with this device without even having a computer. I'm running everything into OBS, and I can switch my sort of angles here. You see I have some different screens configured because I do want to start streaming. I'm just about putting all the finishing touches on my workflow for streaming. I think this would be a great way to connect with you guys, my audience, my supporters, and really answer any questions you might have, show you some behind the scenes stuff, review some other products that don't make the cut for regular videos, but I got a whole bunch of stuff here that I could talk about on camera. So stay tuned for that. But let's talk a little bit about the cameras that are connected into this board that I'm using. So right now I have one mounted overhead. So now I can actually show you guys handheld, sort of the rest of the setup. Here's kind of a different view of everything. Got my nice little lens mug here, holds my pens and pencils. On my Devoom, like that, it's a cool little display. For my keyboard, I'm using a wired Magic Apple keyboard. Nothing too fancy, but it gets the job done for now. The mouse I use is the Logitech MX Master 3, a very popular mouse among content creators, and for good reason. And I forgot to mention my crystal ball that I keep, kind of use it as a fidget spinner whenever I'm waiting for stuff to render. This is the Kinetrica Square Wave, which I've also made a video on this. I actually have it in red now, because I thought the red looked really cool with the space. Big fan of Salvador Dali, so I have my Dali prints on the wall here. So basically for my main desk angle here, I'm running my my GH5, my old camera, and so that's running directly into the ATEM Mini Pro right there. The monitor setup up here, I'm just running a 7-inch small HD monitor that is connected to the output of the ATEM Mini. So I can kind of use this as a program monitor to preview my angles and kind of see what I'm doing here. The reason I got the M1 Max is so I can actually have that third monitor output. So from OBS, I can actually output the feed to my TV, which is pretty cool. So this camera, I'm wirelessly running the feed to my computer into OBS, and now we're looking at me through the TV. So yeah, this is kind of my streaming setup that I got going on, but let's actually finish the rest of the desk setup tour. So what I got going on here is a 4K smart TV that's mounted on my wall. It's one of those nice arms where you can pull it out and and angle it and do all sorts of adjustments that way. It's not anything too fancy, but it certainly does the job, especially if I need to use it as a giant monitor when I'm setting up shots. It's helpful for that. Of course, you know, I can run movies, TV, whatever I need. In the middle part of my desk area, I have this cutting mat. Because as I mentioned in the beginning, the desk is actually, you know, two different parts, and there's the kind of split there. It's connected together. I'm a big fan of lines and geometric design. And it is functional too. If I do need to cut something, do overhead product shots, something of that nature. This is where I keep my Canon Pro 100 photo printer. I actually do use it to create my own prints. It's quite a large printer. I do print out my own photos, my own photography. I hang them on the wall. So it has been great for that because it is a really excellent printer. So we pop up the printer here, but I've actually like drilled holes in every one of these ink tanks. So I use these bottles of ink from Precision Colors. They make a great kit and they have guides to show you how to do this. So I basically refill the cartridges, and then I use this kind of like cartridge resetter thing, reset the cartridges, and the printer thinks that they're brand new again. So it's a pretty great little solution, and without it, it would be very costly to run this printer. And this drawer unit here, I use for mostly the video stuff, keep it organized, audio stuff. These are data cables. These are smaller power cables. These are adapters and such. More power cables. These are AC extension. So this area I use, it has my shelves, and I kind of call it my light shelf area. So I'll constantly add different lights to this section to use in the background of my videos. I like to change it up. Got the floating globe, floating bulbs. I have made videos on all of these products here actually that you see on the light shelf currently. On top of the entire desk area here are these kind of cubed shelves. So these hold all of my cameras, my camera collection. I am a fan of collecting cameras. They're not just any cameras. Every single one of these cameras does have a story to it, a piece of nostalgia. I do like to keep them. They're not all random cameras. But yes, that's the camera shelf. Of course, I have all my neon signs. I think I've just about reached on everything. This is actually really heavy in my arm. Oh, just put that down there. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's taken a lot of work to put this all together and assemble it. Hope that answers all of your questions. If I miss anything, please drop a comment below. Let me know. I've now finished the mobile optimized version of the Futurespace Collective website. So hit up futurespacecollective.com. Hit the products button and you can see all the stuff that I've done on the channel in a new and exciting way. It's kind of really cool how it's all put together there. Keep an eye out for the live streams in the future. I will be starting those. Should be interesting to see how they go. This is the Futurespace Collective, where we explore the world of products for imagination. Thanks for watching. Cut it.